And now the yew tree gives her account of the Civil War years and how Tisbury survived those turbulent times.
I think by now you are fully aware of how unsettling I've always found the idea of using an axe to chop off a head. There is not a tree in the land that wants a person anywhere near them wielding an axe for obvious reasons. Just the very thought of it makes my bark peel. But the day I heard that King Charles I had met his end nose to the block, surrounded by non-wellwishers in Whitehall, quite honestly, I was beside myself. If a king can be struck down, what tree is safe, I ask you? Well, it was lucky Tisburgers adored me, and in a world of never-ending conflict since the Civil War kicked off in 1642, I can only surmise that I, in my nobleness and beauty, represented all that was good and kind and consistent in a world gone mad. You might imagine that Tisbury would have carried on as normal, sheltered as it is, in its pretty valley, situated on a road to nowhere in particular. Well, let me disavow you of that notion right now, without further ado. The village suffered just as much as everywhere else as the long tendrils of civil discord slid across the kingdom. While not exactly the epicentre of discontent, there was enough going on in these parts to daily remind you of the fragility of life. Good folk were fearful. Distrust was everywhere, with loyalties tested on a daily basis. And of course, ordinary men were commandeered to fight for one side or the other, while the women and children were left to keep the farms working and the forges burning. In 1593, a baby boy was born and baptised in my beloved St. John's Church, right here beside me, and well I remember it. He was the son of Master and Mistress Mayhew, and they named him Thomas. And in 1642, the year of the Civil War, that very same Thomas Mayhew, by now 51 years of age, established the first English settlement on Martha's Vineyard, an island off the coast of New England in North America. Alongside Martha's Vineyard, he purchased the rights to Nantucket and the Elizabeth Islands, established a colony, and became the island's first English governor. He named one part of the island Tisbury and the other area Chilmark. How about that? What has this got to do with me, other than being present at his baptism, I hear you ask? Well, I have an offspring, a baby you, or is it a baby me? Planted in 1987, that offspring was grown from a dear little sapling of mine and stands proudly, fully grown, outside the Havens Grace churchyard in West Tisbury, on the island of Martha's Vineyard. To think, a part of me is on the other side of the Atlantic, symbolising the enduring connection between our two communities. And just to add to this marvellous tale of connectivity, and to bring this story right up to date, are you paying attention? The Havens Grace Church generously made a contribution to our wonderful new east window here at St. John's. If you haven't seen it yet, do. And such is the circle of life. And that wasn't all. No end of unpleasant events were daily occurring in these parts. Poor old Lady Blanche Arundel, no spring chicken at the time, was left to defend Wardour Castle against the parliamentarian forces with only, can you believe it, 25 men to call upon for help. The poor dear held out for 6 days. You've got to hand it to her. I would have chucked in the towel after 2 hours. Well, her son Henry, alongside a royalist force, eventually won the castle back. But, dear, after so many sieges, Wardour would never be restored to its former glory. Unlike me, of course. I remained glorious throughout this unedifying period of British history, but still, it has to be said, I, like most of the common folk, was mightily relieved when the bells of St. John's rang out for the coronation of Charles II. Oh, phew! Well, next week, the Restoration.
The Yew Tree Chronicles.